All right. I believe this means we are live. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, tech fans of all shapes and sorts and sizes and persuasions, welcome to another episode of the Monday Morning Tech Chat Show on the SGGQA podcast channel. I'm Juan Carlos Bagnell, aka Some Gadget Guy, the SGG of this terribly named podcast series, but the QA. QA is the part that we like. Obviously stands for question and answers. We like to have kind of a bit more of an interactive conversation. I like to hold my podcast on a Monday because maybe some news broke over the last week or over the weekend. Gives us a little time to kind of sort out how we feel about it, come back, chat it out, and follow up on these stories better than if we were just getting outraged at individual headlines on social media. We just like to kind of keep up a little bit better than that. So to accomplish that mission, I'm already seeing a great list of names here in the chat. I got WX Romer just popped in to say hello, one and chat. We got Jimmy Fire Dragon, hoping we're all staying hydrated. We got Ron GKP saying, hey all. Simon says, Hypno, PC game on Android video. Yes, please. I just got an iNoden 2 portal. So maybe I'll need to do some more PC gaming on Android. Command control device is saying, hello. Let's see. I missed a couple here. Oh, Georgie is wishing everyone a hello. It's been a little while since we saw Georgie pop into a live chat. What's up, Georgie? Got Simon says Hypno wishing us all a happy Moan Day. You see what he did there? Because it's Monday. Mondays suck. So he wrote moan because that's the sun. Oh, it's good. Okay, we got John Gow wishing everyone a regular happy Monday. Sewlin saying hey to the chat. Vazico saying hi there. And Fat Produce, greetings. I'm delivering mail and listening in 103-degree weather. So again, Jimmy, I need you to keep an eye on Andrew. I need you to keep an eye on Fat Produce. Make sure you send him specifically many reminders to stay hydrated. Folks, thank you so much for tuning in. Thank you so much for joining. As always, I love kicking off my week, getting to hang out with some nerds and talk some tech. This one's going to be a little... this podcast, this week's episode, I'm going to try and keep a little more focused. We still have some news that I want to get through. It's not a full-on pajama podcast, but one of the big stories was this final confirmation that we got of OnePlus pulling out of North America, and I thought we could spend some time in the chat. I've already published a video very similar to some of the other videos I've done on like BlackBerry and LG in years past. Just kind of bemoaning the state of tech reviewing and influencers and journalism. But I also thought I've got a stack of OnePlus phones here. Like my OnePlus Pad 3 is sitting right in front of me on my desk. And at the end of the podcast, we can spend a little time just if we had fond memories or if there's something that we hope some good that can come out of all this, we can chat it out together. And I hope everyone, Pup on Tech, finally catching a live stream. What's up, Pup on Tech? Glad to see you in the chat. What's going on, man? And Mr. Maug, my heart aches. And I think a lot of folks are going to be in the same boat. So I hope everybody had a lovely weekend. I got to catch up with an old friend of mine. We haven't seen each other for, I don't know, over a year. If anyone remembers the movie review show from 2008, my buddy Lee was in town. We went to the old place and we ate some great food and we just kind of chatted about life and stuff. It was really nice. It's like one of those kind of check-in moments. Like we stalk each other on social media and we text each other happy birthday and stuff. But until you're face to face with like a good buddy, and then you kind of just pick up where you left off. And I was like, man, that was really sweet. I'm really glad I got a chance to do that. If you want to see what what's oh my god. So we stopped the show really kissed 2009, 2010. We stopped the show in 2011. We went on hiatus. And so if you want to see what 15 years ago internet production and what one looked like talking about movies, the first year of episodes are on archive.org. If you search for movies you may have missed. And so that was my buddy Lee. and he was in town, so I got to hang out with him. We spent some of our time hanging out watching World Cup play, and was an interesting match. I can't say I harbor the exact same ire that many people on the internet seem to harbor for Argentina. Um, I gotta say, I'm actually kind of a Messi fan. Like, I just think he's an interesting player to watch. Not like, oh, I own jerseys like a fan. Just like, oh, I like to watch him play. I think watching him play in a game is kind of fun. I was pretty confident Spain would pull out a win, but still has been very interesting to me to see like what the lead up to the match was like, what the commentary was like, how ruthlessly embarrassing it was watching America host the World Cup finals. Like, we just don't get it. We just don't get what the World Cup should be. I know, let's do a halftime show. So there was a lot of that, but still, it was kind of interesting seeing how the match ultimately went down. I still never saw like good VAR on why that second goal was recalled. But it did lead. There were some conversations from last week because I was saying, hey, we're going to talk about sports, but that's still a technology topic. And I still feel I'm watching this game go down. There was a moment where like a Spanish player's talking to Messi, and he like has his hand by his face, and Messi's trying to get him red carded because that's like a new foul where if you cover your mouth while you talk to another player, that can get you a red card. And it just really drove home yet again. Not just that moment specifically, but just drove home yet again. I really feel there needs to be a challenge system in international soccer. It doesn't make any sense for VAR to be employed by the officials inconsistently. And so you give each coach two challenges, just like in baseball. You give them two challenges. And if they challenge a call in the field or they challenge a play that didn't get a foul and they're proved right, they get their challenge back. And if they challenge a call on the field and they get it wrong, they lose one of their challenges. Because this whole thing of like, oh, this player's still rolling around on the ground. And like a minute later, there's enough outrage on the field to convince the refs to go back and replay some video is ludicrously inconsistent. It is impossible to keep your eyes on the entire field, but that would give the coach a strategic point in play during the game. That to me is the only way I feel you can fix like simulation flopping, where you can actually address issues like when the ball was kicked into one of the cameras, and well, the sensor in the ball didn't say anything, but you can actually see it like affect how the ball would have arced. Things like that you can't. I don't believe you can rely on the refs eventually going, well, maybe we should review that. So anyway, that was just kind of my takeaway from this year's World Cup. America embarrassing. Our president not being a very good ambassador. I know. I want to be in a picture too. Hey guys, I like being in pictures. I'm the president. Oh God, no, we're so embarrassed. Oh, that's so bad. Ron, exactly. Trump was on stage after the game. Just so not great. John Gow, as a Barca fan, I'm incredibly proud of our boys winning it for Spain and very sad for Messi losing. That was kind of one of the feelings. Like, I honestly kind of hoped it would go to penalty kicks. I don't know. Just like as soon as Spain scored, I was like, oh, okay. I don't know that I had strong feelings one way or the other, but now I have a feeling, and oh, okay. Like I just wanted more. I just wanted more play. From Ted, Messi fan here. Big up to a man that turned down being a billionaire to come play in the USA. And again, for me, it was like he's just so much fun to watch. From Sewell and Messi wholeheartedly deserves all the praise he gets. Generational talent. The other Argentina players' antics were very bothersome. Um, I feel like I could see that, especially how the after the game finished situations played out on the field. Not great. Not and again wasn't like he was in there. Yeah. John Gow, embarrassment. What an understatement for describing what Trump did. MPP Joker, well, we have software tools that can crop a person out of a photo. So, the official publication of Spain's photos from the World Cup already have a person missing from them. I would love, you know what? If it weren't so politically dicey, that could have been an incredible advertisement for Google's magic eraser. And with the power of AI, you can clean up a photo. Oh, it's so good. It's so good. So yeah, I hope you all had a lovely weekend. I'm gonna jump into some housekeeping here because I got some stuff out last week. Again, I'm getting through some of these embargoed videos and sponsored videos, and man, that just messes with my timetable so much. So last week was a really good week just for publishing. God, I can't tell you how much more effort it is today than it used to be. I get a product and I use it and I want to have some opinion on it more than just let me read the specs to you. But now that's like, it takes me a while. It takes me a while to get into something new, figure out the nuts and bolts of it, figure out the pros and cons, write a script, or at least just collect some notes so I can ramble out fast some of my feelings on it. Then take all that footage and put it into a video editor and then upload a finished video and then do all of the YouTube garbage. Now I need to come up with wacky thumbnails. Now I need to come up with 3 different titles. Now I need to put these links and I gotta make sure the affiliates are there. And oh, it's a new product. So YouTube doesn't have any products to put in directly. So I've got to go to Best Buy and see if there's a link there. And like, it's exhausting. What I want to do is sit in front of a camera, tell you, hey, this was a cool thing. I really liked it. Here's some things you got to look out for, and then move on with my life, but that's not where we're at right now. So, on that note, let me screen share here. And just being all cranky. So, and this is on the public side. This is somegadgetguy.com. Odyssey Maxwell 2 ANC gaming headset review, the upgrade you've been waiting for, question mark. Uh-oh. I put a question mark in a video, which is a leading question, which is supposed to make you feel something and get you to click on that video. I'm a big Odyssey fan. I'm sure you can suss out just from some of my previous videos and some even my podcast commentary, even if you're not into headphones. It's a brand that I really wish more people were paying attention to. It's got a reputation in the professional space. It's got a reputation in the audiophile space. And it's one of those products that people like, oh, well, you know, what do good headphones sound like? And I put these kinds of headphones on their ears and they go, whoa. So Odyssey, Maxwell, I should say, the Maxwell line of gaming headsets is excellent. And if you want to know some of the pros and cons of this generation of Maxwell, this is a continuation. This is really a part 2. The Maxwell 2 I reviewed back in January. So I got a video out on Maxwell 2 back in January. And then I think it took the company a little longer to finish up their ANC version. So this is a very big step for the brand. And I'm putting it out there as a question, and no one has been able to reply. The drivers in Maxwell 2 are planar magnetic drivers. It's a different kind of, you open up a headphone and you see a circle. That's a dynamic driver. You open up a headphone and you see sort of a squarish or a rectangle with like these like lines going back and forth on it. That's a planar magnetic. I've reviewed lots of planar magnetics. They're my favorite type of headphone driver. I don't believe anyone has come out with a planar magnetic wireless headphone that includes ANC. So I think Odyssey might be the first, unless someone can point me to another product where that has been accomplished before. So I'm rambling. Watch the video. Why am I telling you all about the video when you can watch the video? Moving right along. We're going to be talking about OnePlus later in the podcast, but I also have published a a more concise, write up my frustrated feelings with the tech market and influencers. Then this was a really fun video to put together. It took me way too long to put this together. This is the Spyra 4 review. The most powerful water blaster gets smarter. It's a Halo inspired assault blaster of a water gun. And so last year, Lex and I took the Spyra 3 water blasters out, and we got some fun video of her just doing target practice on dad. Had like a GoPro clipped to a hat, and just it was really fun. And that video was super cute because my daughter still doesn't love being on camera. We're still, she's never really been on any social media, and she kind of likes to keep it that way. So that Spyra 3 video was fun because you could hear her. You saw this like gun barrel pointing at me, lobbing globs of water, and hitting with a little bit of an impact and some force. This video, she was a little more uh she was a little more open to the idea of like, well, I can be on camera, but just don't show my face. All right, that's totally fine. So there's like, she's doing some of the demo work where she's showing the different shooting modes. And then we had a friend of hers over for a little play date, and it was her and her friend versus me and her friend's dad. And so we, dad and I had the Spyra 3s, the girls had the Spyra 4s. And there's this one adorable clip. I'm like blasting on her friend, and her friend like rolls, yelling like, "Man down, man down!" And then as soon as I turn my back, she shoots me in the back, and you're like, "Oh, that is such a cheap shot." So, Spyro 4, really really fun. I broke out the drones. We had the action cameras going. I definitely need to replace my old GoPro. It's fine, but it's not great. But it was super super fun putting that video together. Oh yeah, let's just wrap up because yeah, there's one more. And then for audio, I have another audio video that's going to be coming out this week. But for audio, the Fosse Audio MD3 Mag DAC. And this got me a pissy comment on Qobuz. So Qobuz has their own social network, the Qobuz Club, and you can go and talk about music and Qobuz stuff. But they have one forum for hardware, and I posted this video there, and some jerk from Germany, I think, it's like, "Oh, I wonder why he even has a Patreon with all of this paid advertising that he's dumping on our site." And so I've given up on Qobuz Club. But this is a really cool, it's cute. I don't have it on my desk anymore, but it's just this teeny little rectangle, and it's doing something to make a DAC a bit more fun. And that's maybe all we need. I totally get like, it's a little expensive. It's like $150, but yeah, and that is more expensive than something like an Onyx Alpha or some of the FIO gear or my Shanling UA4. These little, they're not quite dongle DACs, but they're like little puck USB-C DACs. They don't take up a lot of space in your pocket, but those other things just kind of flop around. And they can put extra pressure on your USB-C port. So the Mag DAC is magnetic. It's in the name of the DAC. And if you have a case on your phone with magnets in it, sticks to the back of your phone, has a cute little screen. That's kind of fun. And it has a couple other lifestyle features that make using a DAC easier. And I thought, hey, this is pretty cool. So I shared it on Qobuz, and they are like, "No, you're being a shill because you're saying nice things about this product." So I logged out of Qobuz Club because who needs that negativity? But if you were looking at some super high quality audio, man, I've been covering some headphones, been covering some DACs. This week, I'm gonna have a video out on this guy. This is the Quest style. If you want to take your Bluetooth DAC game to like a really gorgeous premium level, man, that's a really cool DAC. So stay tuned. There's gonna be some fun stuff. It'll be great. Fritchenville saying, "Hey Juan, what's up?" Let's see. I got a couple other comments here from Pup on Tech. "I would kill for those as our dog is very barky." Closed back gaming headset cans, real good. I feel this is the best, kind of going back, not just Maxwell, not just Odyssey, nice, going up above 300 bucks. Gaming headsets are, I believe, the best place to kick off audiophile because they often have their own internal processing hardware. So yes, Maxwell are expensive. That could be like 350 bucks for Maxwell 2, 450 bucks for Maxwell 2 ANC. That is not a casual purchase. But for 450 bucks, you're getting huge planar magnetic drivers and a closed back design, expertly tuned with an emphasis on detail and articulation that most headphones do not approach, and you don't have to plug them in to a premium high quality DAC because the signal processing is built into the headphone. And then you've got wireless playback through a dongle, wireless playback through LDAC on Bluetooth, cabled playback. This is the easiest way to get into really high quality audio. And you get the other lifestyle perks now. If you spend at the high end, you get stuff like active noise cancellation. It's really nice. Oh, Simon says Hypno. I appreciate that. Really, really enjoyable review. Would love to give him a whirl. So, JGJ, there was a gamer planar magnetic headphone brand that I saw from years ago, and it might have been Odyssey because I still have Penrose and Mobi. Actually, I don't think I have Penrose anymore. Penrose, I think I used while I was at Newegg. I'm gonna have to look at my not as well organized as it should be bucket of old headphones. And sadly, it is kind of a large storage unit that does in some way resemble a bucket. But I know I definitely still have Mobius. And that was also an older Odyssey headphone brand. So my criteria here isn't that Maxwell is a first wireless planar magnetic gaming headset. It's, I believe Maxwell 2 is the first wireless planar magnetic gaming headset with active noise cancellation. I don't believe there's been another planar magnetic headphone with ANC. Aw, Mr. Maug, watching your reviews of Odyssey headsets makes me wish I waited for the Maxwell 2 instead of buying my well, the A50X are still really good, though. Don't get me wrong. If you put those two headphones in front of me, because I'm a planar nerd, I would pick up Maxwell 2. But the A50X is a good headset. Like, I wouldn't feel too bad about having an A50X. Um, From Vazikos, I don't get why it's so hard for companies to do simultaneous audio from Bluetooth and Wi-Fi. My Turtle Beach 700 Gen 1 could do this. I was on a call while playing a game. So it's where you put your priorities. And this is one of the things that I express in the Maxwell 2 review. Odyssey is not that kind of a tech company. It's kind of a big deal that they are including so much wireless tech as they are. For them, it's audio quality, the tuning, not just is it good audio quality, but there is a specific flavor of tuning on an Odyssey headset, and then latency. So for them, it's, well, we've got this dongle, we'll plug the dongle in, and now you've got the best wireless connection that we can provide with the technology that we can build into these headphones, and it doesn't impact the tuning. I appreciate that they took their time to do ANC, because bad ANC is like taking an ice cream scoop to the mids of the audio that you're playing. It affects the sound that you're of the content that you're consuming. So this is a brand that wants to do that kind of stuff right. Adding a whole bunch of other wireless stuff also means having to figure out ways to shield and prevent interference and distortion and crackle and all that other stuff. So I get it. But that also means, like, Odyssey is going to be a significantly more conservative brand in where they approach newer technologies, because they are first and foremost a premium headphone manufacturer. What makes premium headphones? You want to spend $5,000 on some electrostatic headphones? That's an Odyssey. The Carbon are really good. See, PP Joker, I thought this was fun. Ooh, a magnetic DAC. And again, like some jerk on Cobuzz was like, "Oh, you must have been paid to shill this." And like, nah, I gotta move on. From Ishmael P, I haven't trained my ears in listening to splurge on a DAC. I'm streaming at best 160 kilobit per second YouTube music. I also repeat this in the Mag DAC review. So this is, if you've watched these videos, unfortunately, you're getting the repetition here. I believe the first and most important step for jumping out of consumer low end audio and into more premium audio has very little to do with the quality of the audio file you're listening to. So most of my music collection is in FLAC at least CD quality, but now I'm more if there's an option, I'll download 2448, 2496. I have some albums in 24192. I guarantee you my ears are not golden enough at my age with the wear and tear that I've put on them to critically hear the difference between a really well encoded MP3 at 320, a really good CD quality master, and then audio at 24,192. Maybe occasionally on a few tracks, just because of what I've listened to my entire life, I can maybe pick out differences if I'm on the right DAC with the right headphones, but I don't trust myself to really be able to consistently nail that. What is a bigger benefit, though, and this improves the quality of everything you listen to, no, at the lower MP3 bit rates all the way up to the placebo quality and the DSD, DSD 512 mixes that you can get, getting a better amp. I feel way too many people have probably had a terrible experience getting some nice headphones. And not like, oh, I spent $3,000 on headphones. No, I just mean like you go and you spend 50 bucks on a pair of cans. That's already a step up from a lot of the consumer grade stuff. Go to Target right now in the United States and you'll see a rack of like back to school headphones for like 10 bucks. So if you go from there, that's probably not a super high quality audio listening experience because those are likely going to be disposable headphones for students to use in class. We don't care about those as much, right? So you go from like 10 to 50, and that is a huge jump in our expectations and the quality of that. But if you take that $50 headphone and you plug it into the mediocre headphone jack of a student grade Chromebook, and it's all crackly and hissy and airy, and you turn up the volume all the way and it's barely driving the headphone and it sounds kind of muted and dull, that's the experience I think a lot of people are going to have. So they spent more on this headphone and then they're like, "Oh, all this audiophile stuff is just snake oil." But then you take that $50 headphone and you plug it into a $100 dongle DAC with a beastie little amp on it, and that amp, even at lower volume, is gonna properly drive that headphone and reduce self noise and reduce interference and distortion. And it's gonna clean out whatever audio you're playing with, even if it's 160K, compressed streaming file. And that headphone is gonna wake up. That headphone is gonna sound way better. Now, what did I just describe? Going from a $10 student headphone to a $150 audio chain of devices. So I just asked you to spend 15 times more. But that's what I feel like the kind of education that most people lack is even like when we would have headphone listening stations so you could listen to new albums in like a Barnes and Noble. They'd have those like kiosks and you could go sit, put headphones on and like play the new Lana Del Rey or something like that. Just we don't give people these opportunities to hear that difference. You buy nice headphones, you plug them into a headphone jack. You don't know that all headphone jacks aren't the same. There's no standard for headphone jacks. So when I get something like a dongle DAC and like, yeah, it is pricey. I'm acknowledging this is not a frivolous, let me just go get it on the spur whim of the moment kind of purchase, but it's so much better. And I feel like $150 could be someone's end game audio solution today. Getting a decent little dongle DAC, getting a nice pair of headphones that don't have to break $100. I think at 150 bones, you could you could you could deliver something to someone that they would be happy with that audio. Not just like, oh, that's nice, but like I am satisfied for the remainder of my time on this planet. Oh, Pup on Tech, the Meze Classics are doing a-okay job, but would love some ANC with them. Yeah. Meze though, Meze with that little boom mic. Oh, that is a good combo. That boom mic is so good. This is not the strongest suit on the Maxwell, but it's hilarious that Meze, they aren't the same kind of reputation in recording, but man, their mic is so much better. And we got Scoop in the chat jumping in saying, what is up, buddy? Pup on Tech, self-hosted FLAC streaming at FLAC quality over Wi-Fi and 320 on mobile to Symphonium app as my client on Android or Fission. I don't know Fission on Windows. I do know Symphonium. I still kind of slum it with Plex and Jellyfin, and the audio streaming capabilities on those, even with transcoding, is usually pretty good. So, I think it's a good time to look at buying music, owning your music, not always going through streaming, especially for the albums that you know you love that you'll want to revisit. And I think it's also one of the best ways to support the artists is if you can go to the artist directly and get a digital version of their album. They don't have to pay for any manufacturing, they don't have to cover any shipping or warehouse. They're not working with another label that's going to take a cut. I know people say, well, I bought the vinyl and that's going to help them out. So much money went into the vinyl that I worry the artist didn't get much money off that sale. But if you go and you buy the FLAC or the WAV file or even the MP3s, your data storage costs are probably lower than pressing vinyl. So that might be the best way to support an artist. Or as much as I hate their social media site, Kobuz Club sucks. But if you go to Kobuz and you stream, I still think Kobuz has the best payout for whoever the license holder is. So especially on some acts like John Fogerty just started doing the Taylor Swift trick. So there are new cuts of like Creedence songs that are his new recordings of old classic songs. They sound good. They sound a little different if you're used to CCR, but I like that when I listen to those cuts, ostensibly more of the money of each stream should be going to him. Who else also did that? Sarah Bareilles. She put out an album where it was like Sarah's version, and it's almost exactly the same as whatever played on there. I want to see you be brave. But again, my daughter loves that song, and we belt it out as loud as we can whenever it comes on her playlist, and we listen to the version that I believe is like her new recording of it, so that she has all the rights and royalties to it. So JGJ Guitar Center seems to be the closest to a premium audio store compared to Best Buy. And sadly, like just the consumer, where would a consumer go? Where do you go to like listen to that kind of stuff, have that kind of experience? I actually knew someone who was doing some corporate work at Best Buy. No, at Barnes and Noble. Blah, blah, blah. And I pitched them we could reach out to equipment manufacturers like cinema display glasses manufacturers, headphone manufacturers, and we could just do like a little roving road trip. Set up a kiosk. People come into Barnes and Noble. Do you want to hear this album? Do you want to try these headphones? Kind of like make it a fun little personal shopper experience, and then like just kind of advertise, hey, we're going to be at the Barnes and Noble in Sacramento on this and that, and you can come and check and do all this fun stuff, and if you ever want to see this, you can come see this. And I got like through one pitch with someone above him at Barnes and Noble, and then the idea just tanked. And it sucks because like Barnes and Noble would have been a brilliant kiosk presentation, like lease out that space, buy all the Blu-rays and all the CDs and all the vinyl, and let a company come in and like advertise their smart glasses. You know, make it targeted to media and you know, consuming movies and music and stuff like that. But you've got like the entire Criterion collection of films. Well, what would be a really novel way to show those movies off? Here, put these glasses on. You can see, like, when you're on an airplane, you can see this big thing. We can answer questions about what kind of phones are compatible with this. Like, I don't know. Just it's making me sad because there is no place to go for that. It's just a bummer. I don't know. Let me take a drink of coffee. We gotta move on, and we do have some news to chew through, and then we can spend some time getting all misty about OnePlus. Oh, cool. Apparently Def Leppard did that trick too. Again, it's a contract that no one else is ever gonna get. I like Taylor Swift re-recording her albums, the Taylor versions. No one is gonna get a contract like that ever again in the future. But if Def Leppard did that, I'd go back and rock some Def Leppard. Heck yeah, man. That's awesome. Okay, so everything we're going to be talking about, you know, housekeeping only took us 36 minutes. I feel like I'm doing really good there. Everything we're going to be talking about, all of the news articles, all of the show notes, everything will be available on this week's blog post on somegadgetguy.com. And then, of course, there will be the video replay, the audio replay, and then on Patreon, we do a cleaned up version. It's a little nicer. It's just kind of no interruptions, no ads, and I cut out like all the times that I take a break to drink some coffee. Just kind of smush it all back down for you. Patreon.com/somegadgetguy. And we're going to kick off with this is just a really annoying story coming from ProPublica. If there's FCC news, you know I'm probably going to jump in and cover it. FCC officials took pricey gifts from Paramount as the company needed approval for billion-dollar deals. And just the reporting highlights expensive gifts. Despite regulating broadcast media, FCC commissioners have accepted pricey tickets to the Kennedy Center Honors Gala from CBS or its parent company, now Paramount. Conflict of interest. Ethics experts say that by accepting the gifts, FCC commissioners are compromising the agency's impartiality and should avoid acting on Paramount's pending merger. Mixing business and pleasure. After voting for a Paramount merger, Commissioner Olivia Trusty took tickets worth over $12,000. FCC Chair Brendan Carr has accepted tickets worth at least $63,000. So, for tens of thousands of dollars, I want the math to stick here. We're not going to stick on this for too long. I want you to read the article from ProPublica, and it breaks down a lot of the people involved and a lot of the companies. But, you know, Paramount is trying to make some plays, mergers, acquisitions. These are enormous deals that are going to change the media landscape as we know it. It's only costing them tens of thousands of dollars to influence the opinions of members of the FCC to potentially back billions of dollars in deals and mergers and acquisitions. It takes so little money to wield influence over these are unelected officials, but even our elected officials. Some thousands of dollars of campaign contributions can curry favor in situations that will net a corporation billions of dollars. The numbers are so horrific right now. Lavish gifts. Brendan Carr, the chairman of the FCC, took tickets worth $60,000. How much is this merger worth? I don't know, like 20 billion. Imagine like That's how little you need to be influenced. Oh, I got tickets to the Kennedy Center gala. Ooh, it's the gala. And you're like, you're the head of the FCC. Why couldn't you be on the invite list at the Kennedy Center? You weren't on the invite list? Well, again, no one likes Brendan Carr. Apparently, people in his own government, not a big fan, but $60,000. Oh my. It's so bad. It's so bad. So anyway, ProPublica has a more in-depth look at what this chicanery really looks like. It's Man, it is so disappointing because you would also just hope if our government is for sale, it should be for sale for more than that. Now, last week we covered a really gross and sensitive story, and I'm putting out just another sort of little light content warning for this. We have a couple of stories this week that sort of piggyback on what we talked about last week. Someone who got in deep with creating just terrible images, abuse images of a family member in his household, and later that person um, uh, took themselves out of the equation when I feel like their behavior was starting to become too problematic. So I'm putting these two stories back to back, one from Wired and one from Ars Technica. And I really want to highlight some of the specific language as other companies are tangentially associated with this kind of crap. So, from Wired, written up by Matt Burgess, San Francisco demands Apple and Google delete AI nudify apps from app stores. So, sorry, let me do the subheadline for this. The city attorney's office sent the tech giant cease and desist letters this week telling them to stop profiting from 13 face swap apps that are overwhelmingly used to target women and girls. So, with AI and content generation, unfortunately, like one of the main things that I think a lot of AI companies are sort of building towards is they know you've got an entrenched audience full of thirsty dudes that want interesting images of aesthetically pleasing individuals. And I think they all kind of know that that's going to be a big market for them in the same way that real life corporeal beings engage in certain acts that people can pay to witness. Being really dicey with my language here, or really cagey with my language here. They also know that the AI generation of those kinds of images is going to be a huge usage. It's not going to be hugely profitable because it takes a lot of compute power to pull off the kind of image quality that I'm sure these discerning audiences would want. But I'm going to go down here. David Chu, the San Francisco city attorney, replied to Wired, quote, generating non-consensual intimate images is illegal, harmful, and completely unacceptable. Also alluding that Apple and Google have likely made millions of dollars in fees from these apps that offer undressing or nudification. These companies have responsibility to ensure that apps on their platforms do not facilitate abuse. The fact that some of the world's largest and most established tech companies are facilitating this has to stop. So I want to point out Google spokesperson Dan Jackson tells Wired that the company has deleted hundreds of apps with features for policy violations, including the 5 Android apps flagged by Chu's office, among other steps to restrict access to them. Quote, Google Play does not allow apps that contain sexual content, and we continually take proactive steps to detect and remove apps with harmful content. When violations are reported to us, which is not proactive, sorry, I'm interrupting his quote, Proactive means doing something about it before it's a problem. What he's describing here is reactive. So when someone complains about it, when violations are reported to us, we investigate and take swift action, which in the case of these apps has included suspending hundreds of violating apps and restricting related search terms like nudify on our store. Now, this isn't a court of law. Dan is not under oath when he's talking to Wired. Is that fair? Am I being fair to Dan here? But I just want to highlight this quote. We continually take proactive steps to detect and remove apps with harmful content. And when violations are reported to us, we investigate and take swift action. Now, what do you think I'm going to do for the next story we're going to talk about? Where do you think we're going? Where do you think this is headed? Do you think this is going to look good for Dan? I don't think this is going to look good for Dan, y'all. So this is written up by Ashley Bellinger at Ars Technica. XAI can't deny Grok makes CSAM anymore, so it's suing users. Elon Musk's XAI files first lawsuit against Grok user accused of making child images. So I feel like this is going to look bad for Google, y'all. I'm going to skip through some of these because, man, the descriptions of what these people are doing with AI apps is stomach churning in the worst possible way. But XAI filed a lawsuit Tuesday suing the first user that Elon Musk's firm has accused of using its chatbot to create illegal content. As XAI alleged, the company assisted in that arrest after discovering that the individual had been using two XAI accounts for months to undress or nudify non-sexual images of multiple victims, including a young girl who appeared to be as young as 10. Now, Twitter is basically admitting we have no control over our AI content generation. And they're trying to make this the please use responsibly of child abuse imagery. Where's Google? I thought Google did not allow for any sexual content on apps in the Play Store. But here's Grok and XAI and Twitter generating scores of abusive material featuring underage individuals. And Twitter's defense or Twitter's reaction or protection is we can't fix our AI to not do this because AI image generation is basically just whatever slop you can trick an AI system into making for you. And they can't put any guardrails on that because they're probably all vibe coding their way through it. So they're going to start suing the users who are taking advantage of how lax their protection policies are. And Apple and Google are still fine letting all of that content be hosted on Twitter and keeping Twitter in the App Store. Where's this proactive protection? What did Dan say? I'm having trouble remembering. Google Play does not allow apps that contain sexual content. That's interesting. That just contain. So your app doesn't even need to be an app focused on that kind of content. If it just contains that content, Google will not allow it. Google's going to protect all the children's. When violations are reported to us, we investigate and take swift action. And I wonder how long this has been going on at Twitter. I wonder. Because Google, Dan, he's on it. Dan is telling you, man, I trust Dan is giving us the straight scoop, right? He's given us total totes 100. He's keeping it a buck because Google would never do anything like include an app like Twitter, where I'm sure they probably generate a ton of revenue off of interactions and subscriptions through Twitter, and just cynically leave Twitter on the Google Play Store while Twitter failed to contain this problem that Twitter created. And Twitter's solution is, we're going to sue the people who are using our tools to make this stuff. And there's no accounting for that. Apparently, this chain of events was just completely unforeseeable, and there's nothing our governments can do to like do that. So it's pretty great. Pretty great. JGJ, fake. X is rated M18 plus when I saw the Play Store listed this morning. That's not what Dan said. That's not what Dan said, JGJ. What did Dan say? What did Dan Jackson at Google say about apps that contain sexual content? We rate them M18 plus is what we do. That's not what he said, JGJ. If you want to support Twitter, go support Twitter, JGJ, but I'm using Google's spokesperson's language here and immediately looking at another situation. And I got to say, if that's Google's policy, it would make a lot of sense why Reddit cracked down so hard on some of those subreddits that had salacious content in them. But why is Reddit still allowed on Google Play? Google Play does not allow apps that contain sexual content. And we continually take proactive steps to detect and remove apps with harmful content. There's a ton of AI generation on Reddit happening right now too. But you know what's interesting is that Google is paying Reddit tens of millions of dollars a year to scrub all that information for Google's own AI training purposes. So it must be different when Google has an AI contract with an app like Reddit. But Dan didn't say that. Dan didn't say, we take tough steps for adult content hosted on Google Play and it's rated M18. That's not what Dan said. Something tells me that there's like a little disconnect between Google PR and the people that are actually making decisions at Google HQ, what apps can go on Google Play. And also at the same time, Apple just staying super quiet about this. Because again, Apple and Google, man, they really need that cut of all that app revenue. That is big money. That is like billions and billions of dollars every quarter. So they don't want to rock the boat. I totally understand. For them, it's business, man. It's like F them kids. We got to get ours. They want that bag, y'all. But their spokesperson is getting thrown under a bus here. Tire tracks all across his back. Just not a good look. Not a good look. Because you can't say that's the policy. You can't say no adult content. There's no the website that's known for hosting adult content, that if I say the word, people have to say it's corn instead of you know what. God, I hate so much that we can't just have grown-up conversations about stuff like this. Their app isn't allowed on Google Play. There are videos on that site that are perfectly reasonable tutorials for things that have nothing to do with the adult industry. What if someone's just following a content creator who's ironically posting just really good videos to that site? Well, that app isn't allowed on Google Play, but Reddit is. And all of the content from that other site, a lot of it ends up on Reddit. So it's basically just, extra steps. PP Joker, I can't believe Google Gemini is a Redditor. I don't know. When you get some of the responses from Google Gemini, it's to me it tracks. I can see that. I can see Google Gemini as a Redditor. Oh, and PP Joker. Also, it feels like most of these apps are just repackaged Grok and other AI image creation. Of course they are. They're all just various permutations of what is it? Stable diffusion is really popular for one, and then people who can exploit or work around what little content protections there are. It's just a wrapper. It's just a wrapper that they try to focus on creating an undressing effect, but they didn't come up with the AI. The app is just another service for that. So you pay these stupid credits to a middleman, and then they take that and feed it through some other AI platform, and then come back and give you the super gross images. Um, let's move on. No, Mr. Maug, my Reddit stash eyeball emoji. Um, maybe join those of us who sort of logged out of Reddit. I still peek in from time to time, but I just go incognito. I don't log in anymore. I just feel like there's nothing about Reddit now that I want to support the business model, and I hate what they've become. Just like I hate what Twitter has become, and I hate what Facebook is. And instead of continuing to go to the places you hate, maybe join me on Mastodon. If all of us just decided to hang out on Mastodon, we could take over the consumer electronics conversation just by being cool and sharing fun articles and talking about stuff we like, instead of continuously going to threads to get fed rage bait and to pick arguments with people who still post stupid things for attention. I keep saying it. Y'all want to do that, or do you keep wanting to support Google and Facebook and Instagram and Facebook and Twitter? I don't know why. Anyway, just something to keep an eye on, because I feel like this is probably pretty likely. This isn't. I don't like Samsung. I think they're a terrible company, and I'm really excited to see a potential lawsuit against Samsung, HK Hynix, and Micron over possible collusion in the memory space. I'm excited to see Chinese companies starting to make RAM, Lenovo starting to source RAM outside those big three players. I want to say it was Hynix came out with some kind of guidance saying we've got to do something to rein in consumer memory prices, else we might face competition. They're saying the quiet parts out loud, and yet when we did this lawsuit previously, the last time, they were pretty clearly working together to manipulate the market. Courts went, oh, they didn't set out an email that says we're going to explicitly collude to hurt the market. So there is no way we could find if there was collusion there. Unless they say, like, explicitly, we are illegally colluding, I don't know what we can do to investigate, because our legal system is broken when it comes to technology. So I hate Samsung. I think they're awful. I think they hurt their most loyal customers, and they've done so much damage to the consumer electronics landscape over generations of products. This one's kind of interesting because Samsung is this giant amorphous blob of tiny little companies that all have varying amounts of power. And I feel one of the areas of waning power at Samsung has been their mobile division, Samsung MX, which might be posting a loss for the very first time ever. So this was I toyed with just putting in the actual original link, but it was written in Korean, and I didn't feel like my web browser translate did a very good job of this. So I'm posting this from Ro. Wrote this up over at GSM Arena. While Samsung Electronics expects record-breaking profits for Q2 2026, mainly thanks to its semiconductor business, which is a nice way of saying they're going to make more money in one quarter than this company has made in probably the last 10 years because of price fixing RAM is really the headline there. But the mobile division might see its first ever quarterly loss. According to Deal Site South Korea analysis, Samsung's MX earnings could range between 1.9 trillion and 1.5. Sorry. Samsung's MX earnings could range between 1.9 trillion profit, which is about $1.38 billion, and 1.5 trillion loss, which is about 1.09 billion. Still, the most probable scenario is a loss somewhere in the range of $300 to $700 million, the equivalent of $300 to $700 million. And this is for all of their headlines about how strong the Galaxy S26 sales have been, which I've still never seen a clear disclosure from Samsung, because I don't think Galaxy S has recovered from the Galaxy S9 and S10 days. I think that was peak Samsung, recovering from the Galaxy Note exploding. People kind of dipped for a couple years. They spent $10 billion a year on marketing for about 3 years. And at the end of that, we ended up with the Galaxy S10 as the peak. No, Samsung had never sold more phones above $400 than they did in 2019. And then in 2020, that rolled off. Then in 2021, we saw a huge plummet, and they eliminated like the multiple lines of like Galaxy Note. And so even with every year, there's like a new headline. Oh, they breaking sales records, and the sales record is something stupid like this is the most pre-orders that have ever happened on a Tuesday after 4 p.m. when an analyst has sushi for lunch. Samsung does it again. But this is kind of what's showing us Samsung's semiconductor business, how they make RAM and storage and chips, but no one's buying their chips, right? No one's putting Exynos into non-Galaxy phones at any kind of scale. No one is using their fab at any kind of scale. It's always this like, well, we couldn't get time at TSMC, so we'll use Samsung until we can get time at TSMC. Even Intel is starting to creep up with some contracts on older chip design for like Apple. And you're like, that's not great. If Samsung can't even court like, we'll make the chip that goes into another iPhone SE. That's not exactly it, but you know what I mean. It's looking like the price of components in the Galaxy have. So according to this, market analysis shows that RAM chip costs for an $800 phone. I don't know what phone they sell that's $800, but for an $800 phone has risen from 14% to 23%, while NAND flash storage now accounts for 15% of the phone's production costs. So there's no money left to make a profit on these. And this is also one of the reasons why Samsung sucks so bad. Because even if you like Samsung phones, which you shouldn't, Samsung Semiconductor sells those parts to the Samsung MX division. Like they're making this money internally. It's kind of like, hey, well, I'll move this part over here and you'll pay for this piece over there. So knowing how all of the component prices have skyrocketed, the costs have now impacted their phone division. I love this line. Interestingly enough, even during Samsung's Note 7 battery crisis, where Samsung phones were exploding, let's just remember what that battery crisis was. It wasn't boot looping like the LG G4. That was embarrassing, and that sucked for G4 owners. The Note 7 exploded, and everyone was like, oh, but Samsung took care of their customers. So great. Yeah, their phones exploded. The mobile arm reported a modest $73 million profit the year that the Note 7 exploded. They still eked out a little bit of profit. That's not good money for a company like Samsung. That's pretty bad. But they still made money. The RAM crisis looks to be affecting the component costs of phones so much that Samsung could be in the hole anywhere from $300 million US to $1 billion. Most likely, the mobile division is going to take a loss between $300 and $700 million, the equivalent of $300 or $700 million US. And yet again, I'm gonna have people, oh, but like AI, and I like, like have it write my emails for me. And this is why we can't have nice things. It's so great. Well, let me take a drink of coffee, and there are a couple of these here real quick. Oh, Ishmael, you can get me started on this. Ishmael says, I get upset that gambling apps disguised as kid games, as well as other gambling apps, make it to advertisements on teen rated TV shows while I'm watching Heroes and my kids are sitting nearby. We're going to talk about gambling this episode of the podcast, too. Mr. Malga saying, I just use it for the Xbox Ally subreddit now. I get it. But I'm just saying, if you were Google, would you allow Reddit on your platform? It has adult content on it. Darcy, yes, come toot with us on the Mastodons. Mastodons, we toot. It is delightful. Both Jimmy Fire Dragon and Simon Says Hypno saying, scam sung. From WX Romer, the analyst was having barbecue, not sushi for lunch. Fair enough. That's fine. I just I've taken like ad agency lunches at like Shutters on the beach, and it's just like, this is a ridiculous waste of money, and the food is fine, but it's not worth like, oh, it's just that we're at Shutters at the beach and we're being seen making big deals. Ron GKP. So you're saying if you put out the same phone every year, eventually people will notice. Unfortunately, that's not the issue. It's actually selling better than the S25 and the S24 series of phones. It's Samsung shooting themselves in the foot with their own component costs. It's awful. Command control device is saying, I like the talent Samsung chip division has in comparison to Google. I don't know what's going on with Google's chip design right now. It's not great if you care about any types of like graphics processing. Oh, and Rob Aaron's or Robba Runs, the rectangles no longer glow on Reddit. They briefly shone on Dig, and then Dig went and pooped the bed too. This is a concerning data point to keep an eye on. Another analyst report. So again, this is like not really a direct consumer trend as much as it is how companies are moving product to different regions, yada, yada, yada. But we need to keep our eye on some of this stuff. From Counterpoint Research, India smartphone shipments fall 10% year over year in biggest June quarter decline in 6 years. This is a big deal because India is one of those areas where we have the potential to grow the next hundreds of millions of internet participants. The next 500 million people who get online for the very first time could come out of India. And it's concerning when we see as steep a decline year over year in something like mobile. India is a heavily mobile first kind of region. Like there might be a couple 100 million people, literally like maybe 200 million people that really, how did they phrase that when we did that MediaTek conference, that are like dedicated laptop users or desktop users? Could be like 200 million laptops in operation, but there are like 2 phones per person for everyone that's using phones in India. This is why I get so pissy about things like having video out on mid-ranger phones. To me, there's like a tech dignity in bringing someone online, but then also showing them, if you need to do something more computery, this is a computer. Plug it into another screen. You should have that kind of access. You should have that kind of capability. So lots of companies taken a bath in India over the last year. IQ was down significantly. They were representing about 4.4% of the Indian market, now down to 1.7. OnePlus grew 0.1% from 2.4 to 2.5. Poco declined from 5.4 to 4% of the market. Vivo declined from 19% of the market to 17.8% of the market. Realme grew from 9.6 to 10. Xiaomi grew from 8 to 9.4. Oppo held pretty steady, 13.2 to 13.6. Samsung grew 2 points from 15.5 to 17.6. But the big winner, the one company demonstrating the highest amount of growth, was Nothing. So Nothing phones grew over 100% in sales in India. Was it 105% year over year? So when I was doing my OnePlus video, a lot of people were concerned that Nothing would become another whipping boy brand after OnePlus left the market. They've got to be really careful because they're building a lot of the same kind of experience and marketing and audience, enthusiast audience. But that is a big win for Nothing because they're a very small fraction of that. They don't even rank on the pie chart that I was showing on camera against brands like Samsung being 15% of the Indian market. Nothing is a tiny sliver, but that's a big win for Nothing, more than doubling year over year their market presence in India. This should be very concerning to us. When a developing area that has hundreds of millions of people that are underserved and getting online for the first time and picking up phones, and that's going to drive like the direction of their economy, that's going to drive the experiences that everybody has. Like they come up with their own payment services, they come up with their own shopping services, they have to have their own like market and kiosk, point of sale. All of this is being driven mobile first. To see a 10% drop in mobile sales is not great. Really not great. Not great at all. Oh, and Jimmy Fire Dragon. Yeah, I saw Carl Pay was posting about it on Twitter. It was great to see. I think he said they were the fastest growing brand in India too. Well, over the last year. Yes, that is accurate. Not the fastest growing of all time. I don't know what that would be. But over the last fiscal year, those are huge numbers for Nothing. And the flip side of that, this is again, I'm just kind of keeping us loosely on the pulse of some of the streamers and the content apps out there. We talked about how Netflix was going to start bringing in what were they going to do? They were going to start offering trials. So you could sign up for service, get, I think it was like a month free or 2 months free, something like that. Just not in the United States and not in the UK because F us, right? Um, so Netflix is really looking like, man, it's bad if we can't demonstrate continuous growth. If we're not picking up more subscribers, investors get real cagey about what's going on. And those free trials didn't seem to inspire a lot of confidence. This is coming by way of Zawya.com, Zawya.com, written up by oh no, you know what, so this is funny. This is basically just someone, a website that cribs. This is coming from Reuters, from Harshita Varghese, over at Reuters News. Netflix tumbles as slowing growth, less viewership data spooks investors. Netflix shares sank more than 10% on Friday after the company forecast another quarter of slower revenue gains and scaled back viewership data, fueling fears that its industry-beating growth may have peaked. The stock was close to a 2-year low in early trading, with the decline set to wipe out $35 billion from Netflix's market value of about $313 billion if losses hold. So, one, I'd like to point out that Netflix is a wildly, incredibly, explosively more profitable business than SpaceX. Netflix is not tens of billions of dollars in the red every fiscal quarter, right? This is a company that makes money. I viciously, viciously disagree with many of their more recent business practices, like region locking, setting a home address for your account, uh, forcing people to buy number of screens and quality as one package. There's a monetary value to how many streams you can run concurrently, and they all have to be associated with one address. And there's a monetary value to what the quality of that stream is, but they won't let you mix and match. So I can't do 4K with one screen. So that should be illegal. You're making me buy additional streams that I don't need and I can't use because you've also locked those streams to my home address. But you're saying that there's a financial correlating cost to the plan that I would pay for. This is why, like, we pay for Netflix maybe a month out of the year now, where we used to be on the 4K plan, paying every month. It was a mandatory subscription. We loved our Netflix, and now I hate them so much. But even I have to point out that this company, even with slowing growth, is still demonstrating growth and makes so much more money than a company like SpaceX, which is just hemorrhaging money, makes so much more money than a company like OpenAI. And we can't find, what's the word that I want to use? Can someone tell me what balance? Is that the word I want? Homeostasis? A company exists, puts out a product, satisfies a market, makes tons of money. Failure if they can't demonstrate growth. At some point, you tap all the people who were gonna have a Netflix subscription. At some point, you run out of people on the planet who were keen on that kind of spend. The joke is, well, what they need to do is encourage people to have two accounts. Do you pay for Netflix twice? There you go, more growth. It it doesn't work that way. That's not possible. It just doesn't make any sense at all how we rank and qualify the value of companies based on shareholders' expectations when you literally get to a point where it's just impossible to go any further. So I guess the company's done. I guess they're dead. But I do like to see some market corrections. I do enjoy that. So what I got to say is it made me so sad when Netflix started locking down, account sharing, when they were the ones that encouraged it. The thing that bothers me is that it's a mobile, fluid, data-driven experience. A ton of people watch Netflix from phones. I would say most people probably watch from a regular TV, but a ton of people watch from phones. They move around. That's the whole point of having this data-driven experience. It is promoted by cell phone carriers as something you can do on their cell phone network with data. So for Netflix to lock your account to a physical home address is insidious. It flies in the face of what we value as a mobile, connected, data-driven experience, and it's trying to impose an old school cable TV model on something that found popularity by being mobile and fluid. And this idea that I'm going to pay for 4 concurrent streams, but they all need to be at my one address is vile. And it made me so sad that when they started offering all these other like payments and plans, and oh, if you pay an extra $10 a month on top of your 4 screens of streaming, then you can add someone remotely to your account. And it doesn't work well. It's crap. Every single time we make the mistake of paying for a month of Netflix, I think, hey, it'd be cool. Let me download a couple movies to my daughter's tablet on our account. and then it locks itself up and I still have to log back in, or do I have data on her tablet? Oh, I don't. Let me hotspot my phone. Let me re-verify. Okay, now I've logged back in. It's going to let us stream. Oh no, it just shut off again. It is miserable. It never works. And even for the 1 month, it's like I've spent so much money for 1 month of this stupid service to binge a couple shows that I get to the end and then think, it was okay. They ended it with another cliffhanger, and I doubt we're ever going to get the conclusion to this series. Like, I'm never going to watch anything at Netflix again until the entire series is done. And the creator says, we got to wrap it all up. Thank you so much, Netflix, for letting us deliver the conclusion to the story that we wanted to deliver. So I like seeing a market correction on Netflix. Yeah, go V8, equilibrium, balance, homeostasis. What do we call it when a business can just be successful, make a lot of money, and doesn't have to demonstrate cancerous growth for shareholders to not like tank the value of that company? I don't get it. Dr. Claw is saying impoopification is the justification to wreck the current shareholders Uber Als paradigm. Yeah, it was a little. Michael C2 is saying it's just like Sony used to make fun of Xbox for not letting you share your games. Samsung made fun of Apple for the headphone jack. Uh, and every single one of those, we should have a much longer memory. And we should be much more viciously angry at companies that do stupid and terrible things to their customers. But it's great. From command control device. There needs to be a license to be a shareholder, for which a becoming shareholder would have to go through a common sense course about basic economics and the finite amount of potential customers. And for Michael C2, that's why I didn't watch The Diplomat with Kerry Russell. It ended on a cliffhanger, and there's no way I'm going to risk watching it for them to cancel it like they did with The Society. I really liked the first series of The Diplomat, and now I'm waiting to see if it just finishes. What's his name? Rufus Sewell, the dude from Dark City. I love his performances. He was also in is it Man in the High Castle? Anyway, um, adore him as a performer, and can't do it. Can't do it until I know the series is going to conclude and that we get an ending, and that would be great. That would be real lovely. Man, I still have like 2 more stories back to back here. Okay, and I said I was warning you we were gonna talk about some of this stuff here. One, I want you to read the story from Ryan Whitman over at Ars Technica. It's official. EU will force Google to share search data and open up AI on Android. I don't understand why this would be controversial at all, because it's a little similar to what we did to Microsoft back in the early internet days, where Microsoft included Internet Explorer and everyone railed about how that was anti-competitive. And so if you bought a Windows computer in Europe, you would get an opening splash screen asking you which web browser you would want to install and use. I don't see where that's fundamentally different than Google forcing Gemini as the main AI backbone of Android, and that not being horrifically anti-competitive in the same way that we used to freak out about a web browser. I feel you should make Android. This is going to be acid in my mouth, but I actually kind of like that Apple was so greedy that they wanted a company to come in and pay them to be the AI supplier on the iPhone. That Apple didn't really invest a lot in their own AI infrastructure. They kind of just left a whole bunch of holes in iOS that I think they were hoping another company would come in and fill. And now it looks like it's Gemini, Google Gemini, that's going to kind of plug in some of the holes in their AI strategy on the iPhone. I kind of feel Android should have been built the same way. because it is still so viciously disappointing to me. Like, I remember like 8 years ago, we were talking about interactions on Android phones that were starting to build towards something a little bit more organic. I want to be able to pick up a phone and say, "Yo, phone, open up Qobuz and play my daughter's softball workout mix." And the phone would go, "Yo, dog, I got you," and just do it. And I don't want to pay for YouTube Premium. I'm not gonna. I don't like Google's streaming services. I've given up on YouTube TV. I'm not going to pay for YouTube Premium. I'm moving on. I want to be able to say, "Yo, phone, open up Disney Plus and stream that horrible new Descendants movie for my daughter to watch to the big TV." That's what we were getting closer to. Literally, you could do some things kind of like that with search and location on Windows Phone. Hey, the next time I talk to my wife, remind me to ask about the dog's medication. And then if I got a text message from my wife, if I got a phone call from my wife, a little notification would pop up on the screen. "You seem to be talking with Marie Bagnell. Do you want to ask her about the dog's medication?" "Yes, phone. Thank you. That is very useful." And now to do the same thing with a language learning model is horrifically more data intensive, cloud intensive. Like, our phones don't do those things well. So what I want is someone to break that open. Gemini, I'm sure, works great if you put all your eggs in Google's basket. If you put all of your personal information into Gmail and you put all of your purchases into, Google Play services, and you listen to music exclusively through YouTube and you only watch YouTube for video content, I'm sure it's awesome being able, like, "Yeah, open up this playlist. This is so great. I love my Pixel Watch. It's so nice." But that's not the service I want to use. And our phones over the last decade have gotten dumber when it comes to opening an app I installed. So, this is like the most token effort from the EU. You're including an AI on your phone. This is the modern day equivalent of Microsoft in pre-installing Internet Explorer. So, no, you've got to be able to open this stuff up, and other people need to be able to slot in other AI services, and you need to make that something accessible. And that's like the bare minimum. It's like the lowest level of and of course, hold on, let me see if I can find I love this because, again, they're so concerned about these things. Google was vocally opposed to the EU's new rules before they were finalized, and the company is not mincing words now that they're final. Kent Walker, Google's president of global affairs, claims Google offered more measured solutions that it believed could satisfy the DMA's goals, but the path chosen by the European Commission goes too far and will harm users. Today's decisions, this is a quote, "Today's decisions risk undermining vital privacy and security guardrails for millions of Europeans." We want to spy on Europeans and rake all their user data to train our AI models and to profit off of our advertising and marketing tools. If someone else could do that, that would mean less money for us. Undermining vital privacy. Are you kidding me? On an Android phone running a whole bunch of AI services, you're really going to go with undermining vital privacy and security guardrails? You know what, Google? When you can come up with a policy that is consistent regarding abuse imagery on social networks being included in your app store, I'll believe you have vital privacy and security guardrails. Let's make this an even exchange. You do us the benefit of consistently enforcing your no adult content policy on all the apps that can host adult content that are currently available to install on Google Play. And I'll believe you that you can protect vital policy and security guardrails for AI. Let's do it. What we got to lose? You're only living up to the standard you yourself set with your spokespeople coming out to say that's how you do business. That's not me. I'm not putting that on you. I think if someone wants to engage with adult content, there should be the back room, with a beaded curtain in the Google Play Store for people over the age of 21. Because you let all kinds of gambling happen on your platforms. You don't seem to have much of a problem with that. So why not adult content? Beaded curtain, everyone judges you when they see those apps installed on your phone. Fine. Someone wants to do that, great. I'm not the one saying we don't allow it when you totally allow it. So until you can get that kind of messaging sorted, I don't believe there is any vital privacy and security guardrail happening with AI services on Android or iOS devices. I think you're full of crap. And I think all you're doing is protecting your ability to harvest data for your own financial benefit. And that's why you're so upset and not mincing words. We offered other solutions that would have financially benefited you. We went to the EU and said there are other things we could try that would financially benefit you. And the DMA does not exist for you to financially benefit off of user data. That's what actual regulations look like. So suck it up. It sucks. Maybe you should consider your business model. Maybe you should look at how the future of your business is going to monetize some really reprehensible behavior. Because I've been very disappointed in what Google corporate has been playing off like, we got to protect the children against all these corn apps. Because you're not. From Ron GKP, he should have Googled a better response. Are we using Gemini like a verb yet? Is that a thing that's happened? You should have Gemini'd a response. I don't know. It's so dumb. Oh, because the other case on this is also just kind of funny too. This is coming from Reuters properly. I didn't just get it from another link that was cribbing Reuters. Written up by Fuyun Chi. No liability exemption for Google in Italian YouTube spat. So Google is not immune from liability for videos uploaded to YouTube by commercial partners. This is a very big deal. The case before the Luxembourg-based Court of Justice of the European Union centered on a spat between Google and Italy's communication authority, which fined the company €750,000 for gambling advertising on its YouTube video platform 4 years ago. Italy said, don't put ads for gambling up on your service. And Google did it 4 years ago, and they were fined $750,000, and they've been fighting that in court for 4 years. Just exhausting lawyer fees, taxpayer dollars, regulators' time, energy, and effort. And there is still no data that I can find that suggests whenever you open and legalize gambling, especially online gambling on all these stupid sports books and betting books, and now like you can gamble on just real life events on all these stupid marketplaces, it is always terrible for everyone except the company running the shop. No money is going into savings. No money is being set aside for retirement. No money is being invested in the local community. All of this money is just getting extracted. And we see huge swings in rates of depression, of self-harm, of other like spousal abuse. Like say you bet on a local sports team, we can track whenever a local team loses, unfortunately, partners end up in hospitals, statistically correlating with a rise in sports betting, legalized sports betting through these types of services. It has always been awful. And if Italy wants to say, don't do it, don't do it. again, we're supposedly playing ball with like local policy, local regulators. And this is really dangerous for Google. Italy has drawn a line with commercial partners. So this still doesn't quite step on the United States interpretation of protecting platforms through the Communication Decency Act. Section 230 of the CDA affords Google some buffer and protection that they are not directly liable for what someone might upload to YouTube. Say someone uploads something terrible and illegal to YouTube, Google has a bit of a buffer, a bit of a protection, thanks to Section 230 of the CDA. This is about commercial partners. So there is this tiny little defining line in the sand that this is a little different. This isn't just any content uploaded to YouTube, but YouTube is directly working with advertisers to promote gambling apps on YouTube. Now, what's hilarious is I just got this email today. Do I want to? I got to be careful not to give up too much personal stuff here. You know, I might just read this here. Is there anything? Because this is like one of my personal and business accounts here. I'll go ahead and share it. That looks okay. That looks safe. I'm not. Nah, you've already seen it. It's stupid. Dear AdSense publisher, on August 10, 2026, Google will update the gambling and games policy for authorized buyers. Following the update, authorized buyers will be able to promote online gambling and social casino gaming in an expanded list of geographies and will not need to certify end advertisers with Google to promote this content. In accordance with local laws, regulations, and industry standards, gambling creatives, examples given, online casinos and sport books, bingo and slot machine sites or apps, online lottery ticket and scratch card purchases, online sports betting, and games using virtual currencies with real world value. Games using virtual currencies with real world value. Games that we give to kids that have gems or coins, and you can buy more gems and coins. They will be able to serve beyond select US states, including Argentina, Australia, Austria, Belgium, Brazil, Canada, Taiwan, Czechia, Czechia. Denmark, Finland, France, Germany, Greece, Hong Kong, Hungary, Ireland, Israel, Japan, Korea, Latvia, Mexico, the Netherlands, New Zealand, Norway, Peru, Philippines, Portugal, Romania, Russian Federation, Serbia, Slovenia, South Africa, Spain, Sweden, Switzerland, Taiwan, Turkey, and the United Kingdom. Italy wasn't in the list. I literally, I got that this morning. That apparently, if you're not paying for YouTube Premium, expect a horrific wave of even more authorized ads through Google promoting casinos, sports books, bingo, slot machines, online lottery tickets, scratch card purchases, online betting, and any games using virtual currencies with real world value. So I've got Suolin and JGJ, both with differing pronunciations on the country that I just butchered. Someone has got to give me a better guide on that. So they just lost a court case to Italy that Italy was fining them 750,000 euro for allowing sports gambling ads on YouTube 4 years ago. And today, we got notification that on August 10, it's all fair game. More gambling and advertising and marketing of terrible business practices that hurt everyone they touch. It's all coming your way. Just please use responsibly. It's a moral failing if you get caught in the addictive quality of a betting app. And we just feel so sad. And, just go get help.
because it's your fault that you weren't strong enough to use it responsibly, even though it hurts every community that's ever enacted it, and it devastates, the local economies, and it can actually put spouses in the hospital because of abuse. And it just, we feel so sad. We're so sad about it. So use it responsibly. Don't use it irresponsibly. Just have some fun giving us all your money. Good job, Google. Be super evil. From Rob Aaron's life pro tip, email the apps you don't want to see gambling ads on and say you're on the self-exclusion list. It actually works. I give that a shot. I have to go digging through. I haven't pruned my YouTube channel in a long time. And I bet you there's a bunch of like stupid political stuff there because I talk about politics on this podcast. And I need to go through, especially before the midterms, and just make sure I just delete everything. You'll come to my channel and hopefully just get like, I don't know, commercials for My Little Pony or something like that. It just to play it safe, it's all squishies all the time. I don't know what anyone would even care to see ads on, because you're all paying for YouTube Premium, right? You're going to give Google money, so you don't need to see the sports betting ads, right? Oh my God, who could even live without YouTube Premium anymore? I'm just going to give YouTube more and more and more of my own money, so I don't have to see predatory gambling ads that they approved for their services. The system works. So that's gonna do us for all the news and whatnot. I did have an article. I'm going to link it in the show notes. Just a little more info coming out on that funky phone that we talked about from Hisense. Just kind of was excited to see an e-reader style phone coming our way. I'm really curious how much it's gonna cost. But we can kind of close out. We got the last 20 minutes of the show here. OnePlus, man. Who wants to talk about some OnePlus? From Regilio, first time chat, saying, "What's up, bro? I just watched your video about OnePlus and I like it a lot. You're one of my favorite tech reviewers." Well, thank you for jumping in and sharing that, Regilio. I really appreciate the kind words. I have a stack of OnePlus phones here. It's on the floor right now, but I've got a little desk set up because I've now gone to 2 computers to do my stream. I'm gonna close a laptop here. I just tapped my mic on the computer, but I'm going to go ahead and pick this up here. And if we want, we can just go through the whole list of my current collection of OnePlus phones if I don't drop them. So that's my museum catalog of OnePlus, from the phones that I started watching and paying attention to the phones that they went out on. I don't have like the whole OnePlus collection, but I got a few, and I've got some keepers that I think are going to be fun museum pieces. I guess we could start. Do we? Is it chronological? Is that what we're doing? I don't know. You know what? I will. I'll start. If you have some thoughts on OnePlus, or if you liked what they did, or if you hated what they did, like, share some comments here in the chat, or hit me up if you're on the replay crew and you just have thoughts that you'd like to share, and maybe we'll revisit that in another video. I thought about maybe doing this as a standalone video, maybe on the Patreon or something like that, but we could just do it here on the podcast. I'll start with, I completely aggressively did not like what OnePlus represented when they first launched. I hated the edgy marketing, the obvious pandering to tech enthusiasts. I think it's disgusting. I thought it was disgusting, and I still think it is today, when the company has little to offer outside of, "You're not like those other sheeple. You're different. You're better. You don't fall for marketing. So we're going to market to you by insulting other people and being really edgy and extreme, bro." And being a kid who was born in the 80s and grew up in the 90s, there's so much of that cynicism marketing that I'm completely burnt out on. I think everyone would agree ads suck. We don't like being marketed at. But I do feel like, hey man, like something that's earnestly like it's so charming to me when I meet someone and they're just like, hey, I made this thing and I'm really excited about it and it's on Kickstarter. Or hey, you want a monitor for your phone to use desktop mode. Here's a Next dock. And we get what that relationship is. They're marketing a product. I'm using a product and describing my experiences using it. And you might decide whether or not you want to buy that product. It's all a part of this chain of how do we make it through our day and what things do we buy that will appreciate the experience better. So OnePlus comes around with the OnePlus One, and it's this flagship killer. One of their early marketing campaigns was like, show us video of you smashing your current phone, and you'll have a chance at getting an invite for this like raffle system that they have to maybe buy the new OnePlus One. And they kind of continued that flagship killer um, pissiness into the OnePlus Two. I never got my hands on the OnePlus One or the OnePlus Two, and I didn't want to. I did not like what they represented. I didn't like how wasteful it was. I didn't like how destructive it was, how insulting it was, and how effective it was for all of those nerds that seem to fall for that kind of style of marketing every single time. Another flagship killer brand comes out and people come trotting out of the woodwork to go, I'm above marketing. You can't fool me with commercials. That brand is for me because they're not like the others. And then you pick up the phone and it's like, this is just like any other Poco. There's like nothing about this phone that's really that interesting. You just like the label on the box. You are just as susceptible to marketing as anyone else out there. You just like that they're marketing to you. Oh. JGJ, all about Android podcast counter days since marketing blunder. From Aditya Anil, all these years, and they never really did hire a mathematician. Ike Talks Tag, what's up, Ike? I love to see you here, man. Had to come out of lurk mode. Open was the best foldable and still could compete with folds from Google and Samsung today. No lies detected. And their slabs paved the way for my Find X9 Ultra RIPOP. You will be missed. So the first phone that I started taking the brand a little more seriously, I was at Pocket Now, and it came as part of a trio of phones that I don't really feel there's a ton of value in making the flagship killer today. But there were three phones that defined a high performance, accessible cost kind of idea. The Honor 8 was my favorite phone. The Honor 8 was my favorite camera of that era of those three phones. The Axon 7, Axon 7, yeah, the Axon was one of the best audio phones ever made. Just an incredible, punchy amp, beautiful. It was like what the HTC would never give us. That Axon was incredible. And then this phone pleasantly took me by surprise. And this is the OnePlus 3. And it has a headphone jack. So this was the phone that turned my opinion on OnePlus around. Because this is a phone that, yes, it was still being billed as this flagship killing device. I want to say it was around a $400 phone, but they were walking away from the edgelord marketing. They didn't completely leave it, but they were walking away from flagship killer to more like the never settle marketing. This is the beginning of that transition into a company that wasn't just making an inexpensive phone sold at almost no margin or profit to try and build a fan base. This was a phone that just legitimately competed well against other devices that were more expensive. And this to me set the stage for OnePlus to come. the OnePlus that eventually became just a killer flagship product, not a flagship killer, inexpensive, compromised product, but a phone line that really could deliver some interesting alternatives to other more established brands. So I'm sorry, I'm trying to keep up with some of your comments and stuff too. Command control device. Okay, people did like Oxygen OS pre Android 11. I don't think it mattered because Android would always be bloated with needless Google services forced onto everyone. Fun fact: Oppo is an acronym for One Plus Plus One. So here, I don't want to get too, sidetracked or derailed onto my feelings about other people complaining about stuff like Oxygen, but I don't think enthusiasts do a very good job of stepping outside their sphere of familiarity. So when we got into like Android 10, Android 11, Android 12, Android 13, it's very easy. If you were only in one phone brand, it's very easy for everyone on Android going through those 4 operating system updates to say, God, this company really screwed up. This software was the worst. And I don't feel like Google gets enough hate for that. It's kind of like when Qualcomm puts out a miserable chip that runs really hot and tanks phone performance and kills your battery life. Everyone blames the phone manufacturers that used the chip, and I don't think Qualcomm gets enough hate for making the chip. Similarly, Android flavors. Man, the transition from Android 10 to Android 13 was terrible for everybody. It was awful for everyone. And a lot of people like defined their personality by Oxygen OS being sort of a derivative of a stock Android kind of experience. And I get it. But after a point during that transition, if you have better resources coming in from a partner like Oppo, just use those resources. It makes the product better. Instead of playing this like constant game of like half in with Oxygen and, oh, we'll do this update for Android 13. Oh, that broke something. You ever see like the actual Samsung community conversations, not influencers that only just hype Samsung, but like the actual users who live in those phones? They don't switch to an iPhone as soon as they're done shooting a Samsung video. Like One UI updates cause carnage. And that affects a much larger base of consumers. So for me, I'm fine leaving Oxygen OS. What was the underpinning? It was a cyanogen mod back in the early days. Don't care because the products have been awesomely better since, again, in terms of software, since the OnePlus 12. From the OnePlus 12 to the 13 and even to the 15 for all the camera shenanigans, Color OS is just better. It is one of the best animation engines on the planet. It's got fun options to customize. It's got great widgets. It's got everything that makes it a fun, unique, playful, bouncy aesthetic. In all the ways that Fun Touch vanished, don't miss Fun Touch. I love Origin. I kind of wish Xiaomi would clean up their OS skin right now. Hyper OS is, I think, in really dicey shape right now. Color OS is awesome. Find some Find X users, and they're stoked. Oh, yes, JGJ. Remember that they were first trying to use Cyanogen mod, but then they made Oxygen OS. I preferred Oxygen pre-color, but that's just the graybeard in me. Again, that's fine. Have your personal preference. But if we're talking about a connected device that has incredible tools to pair with accessories, had some of the most groundbreaking, new, exciting ways that like you could, take your phone. What's a phone that would actually do it? So here's like my OnePlus 12, and right in front of me is my OnePlus Pad, and you just go boop, and then the two are talking to each other after an NFC tag, and sharing notifications and sharing a data connection, and your Wi-Fi tablet is talking to your 5G enabled phone, and your notifications are cross-shared, and you can easily move content back and forth. They, Oppo did a lot of work to try and clean up things like sending a photo to an iPhone. Obviously, that was not as good as just having direct AirDrop compatibility. But if you could convince someone in your circle of family and friends to install the Oppo app or the OnePlus, content share, you could more easily share photos to iPhone owners without iPhones wrecking the quality of the Android photos. And that mattered because OnePlus had brilliant cameras that so many tech reviewers would just shrug off. So from like, where do I have it? The OnePlus 7 had some solid cameras. Where do I have? Is this the OnePlus 5? I think it is. Yeah, this is the one that was also this was like a companion phone to one of the Oppos. The cameras on this were kind of mediocre, and they were playing some really stupid games with misadvertising what the resolution and zoom were. So it's a 2x zoom, but it really wasn't. It was like a 1.5x time zoom. But it was getting into the OnePlus 6s. And I know I've got some here. Yeah, so here's my OnePlus 6. And I also have the OnePlus 6T. I'll just leave it in the case. You guys can just handle that they're in cases. Rear fingerprint sensor and a headphone jack. This phone was awesome. But it was kind of moving beyond those kinds of experiences and getting into this kind of stuff. Like, that's where OnePlus started becoming, to me, a more viable direct competitor. And then we got to the OnePlus 7 Pro. And this has the little pop-out selfie camera. I don't have it turned on right now, but just nice cameras. There was the controversy here too. People had to like, oh, but the telephoto isn't really what they advertised. And you're like, it exactly was. I had to correct what's his name on that Microsoft blog, Paul Thoreau. Is it Thoreau? Thoreau. I only ever read his stuff. I haven't heard him in a podcast for a while. It was like, you understand that crop factor is a thing, and so what they're advertising is exactly what you're getting. Oh, but the sensor is different. Yes, but what they're advertising is exactly what you're getting. And we still had to play this stupid game of according to OnePlus fans, this is the best OnePlus. It was all downhill from the 7 Pro. Who could use a OnePlus without a pop-up selfie camera on it? But even then, we were still playing these stupid games with, we've got to find something to tag the brand for. So OnePlus 7 series. Oh, do I have the, oof, there's a little fly in here. Yeah, I do. I still have the OnePlus 7T. This was a solid sort of, I don't know, what do we call this? Premium mid-ranger or lower premium, something like that. I feel the whole era, sorry, I'm not trying to pick on JGJ, but the whole era with the OnePlus 8 onwards is where the brand really started becoming the firing on all cylinders alternative brand. And then we also see from 2020 to 2025, the Color OS products more directly managed by Oppo. The company more than doubled its revenue from 2020 to 2024. So all the people who were saying, oh, they lost their way when they got rid of real Oxygen OS, I didn't miss it. Real Oxygen OS kind of sucked during that Android 10 to Android 12 transition, just like Sony's update sucked, just like LG's update sucked, just like Samsung's updates all sucked in that Android 10 to Android 12 transition. But as we moved past that point, losing carrier contracts, like not being at T-Mobile, and having more influence from Oppo and getting rid of Oxygen OS is when the company made the most revenue the company had ever made. It's when they saw their biggest growth internationally. It's when they saw their biggest growth in India. They still upticked growth in India and increased market share in a time where the rest of the world, OnePlus is going to be leaving these markets. They're still showing growth in India. But for all of our feelings. I feel OnePlus lost their way after the OnePlus 6. I feel OnePlus lost their way with Oxygen. I feel OnePlus lost their way when they gave up on carrier deals and carrier contracts. And the reality is, the company was more successful after every single one of those transitions. And when they became just a proper Oppo brand, we had the best competing devices against Samsung and Google and Apple that the world had ever seen. Starting, to me, this is critical, starting with the OnePlus 9. The OnePlus 9 Pro, my daughter decorated these with sports stickers when this phone was brand new. Starting with the OnePlus 9 Pro, this phone cost less than an iPhone base model, non-Pro iPhone, and it competed almost directly with an iPhone Pro. This phone cost less than a Galaxy S20 and competed very well against a Galaxy S20 Ultra. I've gotten so many comments from people like, oh, why doesn't he just say exactly who the YouTuber is he's talking about in his videos that gave OnePlus bad reviews? Because I've never heard of OnePlus getting bad reviews from reviewers. Someone please tell me, I'm earnestly asking if these videos exist. Where is the video where a content creator, influencer with more than 1 million subscribers picks up a OnePlus and says, dollar for dollar, this phone kicks the shit out of an iPhone, Pixel, or Samsung? That if you were buying the best experience at this price, that's the OnePlus. I see plenty of videos where, oh, well, this is OnePlus's flagship, so I must compare it to a iPhone flagship and a Galaxy flagship, which is giving Apple and Samsung like a $200 to $400 price advantage depending on how you match storage. And they still lose on things like battery capacity and battery charging speed. We can still take that all the way up to the OnePlus 15 today, which had, oh, they reduced the quality of the cameras. These cameras are still better than the cameras on a Galaxy S26 and S26 Plus. And this phone comes in at a comparable price to the S26 and S26 Plus. And this phone has a ridiculously larger battery than the S26 Plus, and it has real fast charging. So you get a higher performing phone for longer periods of time, because your battery capacity also kind of helps with how much juice you can put through a phone processor, and you can run that phone for longer. And when you need to plug it in, it charges way faster, and with cameras that are still a little bit better than what you would have spent on a Galaxy S26 Plus that would have been more expensive than this phone. So I need to know, am I way off base? Was there an influencer with over 1 million subscribers who ever point blank, not mincing words, not, well, I mean, people should buy what they like. Just buy what you like. Objectively, as a reviewer, I have no opinions, right? Who could pick up a $900 iPhone, a $900 Samsung, and a $900 Pixel and put it against a $900 OnePlus and say, direct to the camera, without stuttering, the OnePlus is the better phone at $900. Who did that? A bunch of smaller players had no problems saying stuff like that. A TK Bay, he'll pick up a bunch of phones and be like, yeah, this was great. I appreciated this. I had, fun stuff with this. But if you were going to spend under $1,000, the OnePlus is the better phone. It's not hard to say. Oh, from Ike's Tech Talk. That wood grain makes my heart stop. I had the wood back Moto X. I always wanted this one though. For me, it was always leather back, but the wood back is really fun too. Where are some of the other? So I just had the carbon fiber back on the OnePlus 7. I forget what they were called, but these kinds of textured backs on the OnePlus 13 and the OnePlus 15. I liked the is it it's not Alcantara. What were the redbacks? The redbacks had this really nice kind of like soft, smooth. It's not rubbery, and it's aging really well. So this is the OnePlus 7T, and it's not getting that sticky, tacky plastic grossness on it. It is just this smooth. It is aged so well. Like I just want to like rub it all over my face. This one was great. But one of my favorite cases was still on the OnePlus 6T. Oh, I do have to shout out because I don't have the OnePlus 8 Pro anymore, but I kept the OnePlus 8. This is the one with the hyper color, really fancy glass back. Let me just pull it out of the case here real quick. So you got that really super awesome color shimmer effect on the OnePlus 8 Non-Pro, but I ended up keeping it in the sandstone, the really rough sandstone case on the OnePlus 8. But my favorite is still one of the Rhino Shields. Rhino Shield made a line of cases for the OnePlus 6 and the OnePlus 6T. So I have the Wiener Dog case, Wiener Dogs and Sweaters for my OnePlus 6T. And this is the Thunder Purple. This case is hard to get off. I don't want to bend my phone because bend tests are the most important thing about testing a phone. But this is the purple to black gradient with that S curve in the glass on the OnePlus 6T. Just gorgeous, gorgeous stuff here. Love it, love it, love it. No notes. My mom was rocking a OnePlus 6T for a long time before she replaced it with a OnePlus 11. So I'm just kind of bummed because I don't know where to go after that. Like, I don't know. I might need to start convincing my mom to like import phones because she's been on OnePlus since her Galaxy S5 died. It's been quite a bit. From Ted, you remember the OnePlus ladies first contest? So I don't think it was clothing. I don't think it was clothing. Ted is saying there was also the infrared sensor that could see through clothing, which OnePlus immediately disabled. I want to say it was through certain types of plastics. I remember doing a test on one of the OnePlus phones, and the camera, like you could hold up something like a television remote and you could actually see through the body of the remote. I don't think it was through all kinds of clothing, though. Someone please correct me if I had that wrong. Aditya Anil. The OnePlus 3, Juan over. What's OnePlus 3? 4. How many letters are there in Juan's name? Also 4. Coincidence? I think not. Simon says, Hypno, numerology is infallible. It's numbers, y'all. How can numbers get it wrong? Yeah. I mean, I think we've lost something tragically special here in the United States. Oh, Goat V8. I never got my hands on one. I always wanted to try one. I didn't own it, but I always thought the OnePlus X was awesome. I think that could have been a really interesting turn, but a lot of what went into OnePlus X, I think eventually kind of came with the sort of style and what they were positioning. Obviously Nord went off in a different direction too. But after OnePlus 10, I kind of feel we zeroed back in on what a core OnePlus experience should be, and it was offering something close to an iPhone Pro at less than the price of an iPhone number. And I still don't understand why that wasn't a bigger deal to reviewers. You pick up, I've got it right here. I still think it's the best phone they ever made. You pick up a OnePlus 12, and these cameras do an incredible job of competing directly against iPhone Pros. It is very close, especially of its time, of the same year. But you had a bigger battery with faster charging. You had the rocker switch, so you could mute notifications. The design is great. It's got an IR blaster, so you can use it as a universal remote. Like, this phone does an incredible job of competing against iPhone Pro Max. And it does it at iPhone Plus prices. And what reviewer came out and said, that's the bargain here. That's where OnePlus crushes. That's what you should consider. Instead, I remember reviewers with millions of subscribers going, but we don't like the new Oxygen because I tried to do a notification where I swiped from left to right, and it was different than what Samsung does when you swipe from right to left. And then literally the week they put out that video, OnePlus updated with bug fixes and patches that fixed that difference in swiping notifications. But they never did follow-ups on OnePlus. Very few people were making the same kind of consistent coverage on OnePlus updates that you would see. Like, one UI updates come out and it could be a 0.3, 0.1 decimal point update. Same thing. A new Pixel drop, you'll get videos on that. A new iOS update, you'll get videos on that. And again, the decimal point stuff, not like going from iOS 18 to iOS 19. We're talking like iOS 26.1.3.774 to 1.3.778. We got to figure out what Apple's doing with these updates, y'all. Let's make a video. But I was in podcasts talking to people. I want to say it was when OnePlus 10, might have been OnePlus 12, but there was this massive change to the animation engine, and the quality of the UI just got way, way better. And I'm talking to this podcast host going like, yeah, and you like OnePlus? Yeah, I like OnePlus. This is great. Did you try the new update or did you fix all this stuff? No, I don't use OnePlus with updates. And they just said it. They only used OnePlus when they would get the new phone. They'd never pick the phone back up to see how the updates went. And that was someone who liked OnePlus. And that's what we faced in the tech enthusiast community. You've always gotten, like it happened with LG, it's happening with Motorola. You always get this lopsided gimmick of a conversation. The only time it's worth talking about a OnePlus is when the new one launches and I got it under embargo. And if I don't get any kind of exclusive embargo treatment, then I'm not going to review the phone, and I'll go make a review about how, did you know that OnePlus had an embargo? And all these other tech creators agreed to the embargo. You can't trust what they say about it. You can trust me telling you not to buy the phone because I didn't get special treatment for an embargo. If I had gotten exclusivity for the embargo to make the first video that everyone would watch, I would have told you that the phone was great. But other people telling you that the phone is great, you can't trust what they have to say about it now. I think most of you probably know some of the people I'm talking about who get real pissy about stuff like that. Let's wrap up some comments here. Some great chatter happening in here, and I know I'm kind of rambling and I'm off the sort of thread of what we've been going through, but that was like my little personal history of OnePlus devices. The OnePlus 3T kind of turned me around. OnePlus 6 really locked me in. OnePlus 8, I think, is where OnePlus is really good. I know all the people out there are like, oh, I love my OnePlus 7 Pro. I'm happy for you. I still have one. I think it's an important phone. But if you passed on OnePlus with the OnePlus 9 Pro, you passed on one of the best phones ever made. And if you never got your hands on a OnePlus 12 Pro, you missed one of the best phones, period, ever made. The OnePlus 12 is going to be one of my museum piece phones. I might get rid of the whole rest of my OnePlus collection here. This phone is one of the best phones ever made, full stop. Let alone best phones made at a price or best phones from OnePlus. Notice how all the other phones I have in regular bumper cases, and the OnePlus 12 Pro I have in this ridiculous oversized armor case to keep it safer than all the rest of my OnePlus phones, because I actually live that. I will put my SIM card back in a OnePlus 12 for the nostalgia of it. I might not do that with a OnePlus 15. I don't know. From Ted, OnePlus excelled in feels good in the hand. And it saddens me to think we probably won't get 80-watt charging in the US for the next 5 years. It's not going to be the thing, man. Let's see. Command control device. People who truly care about stock Android do not care about any accessory integration, because that is just marketing and lock in to make you spend more on gadgets from the same company. It's the stupid Apple mentality that everyone is copying. Also, Samsung. We have new earbuds. Do you want high-res audio in your earbuds? Better buy Samsung buds that only work with the Samsung phone. Great. From a DT Inil. Sure, it had better cameras, but Mr. Gadget, did they have better SEO though? Because that's really the only thing that matters to a lot of these influencers. I'm telling you, every time you see a comparison, I want you to put, again, a comparison from someone with more than 1 million subscribers. Put the devices that are being compared into Google Trends and see where the trends data is. If one gets significantly more traffic than the other in terms of search interest, you can probably predict about 95% of the video comparisons out there. You might really like Nothing phones and then get really bristly and angry when they get bad reviews. But really, Nothing is a great whipping boy brand because they get a lot more attention than the actual market share that they represent. So they're good for staging comparisons where a more search popular brand can win, regardless of the actual merit of the device. It doesn't matter if the Nothing phone is legitimately a better phone at a better price. They can always lose because a very small number of people actually own the phone, but there's a lot of interest in watching videos about the phone. Ron GKP. I had 5 OnePlus phones in my house: Buds, the First Pad, the Watch 2. I still have the Watch 2, but I'm sporting the Watch 3, and I might see if I can get my hands on a Watch 4 just to kind of round out the collection. I don't know. We'll see. The Watch 3 is still doing me fine. No, hold on one second. Let me get a drink of water and we can kind of wrap the rest of this up here. Oh, from Paltrax. I was going to get a OnePlus when it was time to get a new phone, but I got a little gun shy after what happened to Huawei. So I think in the United States, that's what burned us with Oppo. Is other places, if you liked, you were considering a OnePlus and you didn't get one, you have a clear transition. In most other regions, you can get a Realme, which is kind of the spiritual successor to OnePlus as more of a bargain-focused device, or you can step up and get an Oppo proper. The Find X is the OnePlus Pro we never got here in the United States. The Find X is an incredible. You can ask Ike. Ike is always ready to pop in out of lurk mode and say, "I love my Find X9 Ultra." That thing is a monster. It was an incredible phone. And anyone who's like, "Oh, but I don't know," is Color OS. It's exactly the same. It is the most superficial changes to UI to differentiate between Color OS and Oxygen OS. And it's stupid to think that Oppo should have made like 3 different versions of operating systems for OnePlus, Realme, and Oppo. It's just a couple little color and palette and menu changes, but the core experience is almost exactly the same. If you got like a OnePlus 12 and in 2 years you think, yeah, I want to get a phone that kind of fits this, get an Oppo and get a Find X, and you're going to have the Pro OnePlus that OnePlus could never sell. But unfortunately, a Chinese company trying to build any kind of market share here in the United States was always going to be savaged. So I was hoping, like they are holding on to the OnePlus label in India, that Oppo would try to hold on to OnePlus here in the United States and see if they could ride it out. Maybe just become like an accessories brand for a couple years, but keep that little toe hold, that little fingertip grip, that one little tendril of market in the United States. Sell some watches, sell some tablets, sell some earbuds, really good stuff. This is awesome. And then when a more reasonable presidential administration is in power, you could flip it and try and bring Oppo Find X by OnePlus to the United States. Literally, make it the Find X Pro 12 buy OnePlus. Literally just add a sticker on the box that says buy OnePlus. But that wasn't going to happen. A Chinese company building too much momentum here in the United States would probably get a lobbying effort lobbed at it by Google and Apple, and then they'll be put on an entities list and accused of being like a supplier of military hardware. See also DJI. See also Xiaomi being put on that list for trying to sell laptops and electric scooters here in the United States. And they actually sued the Department of Justice and won. But at that point, it was like, why try to do business here in the hillbilly backwaters of the technological landscape? The United States is just an increasingly irrelevant market for many of these companies. Ooh, Rob Aarons, the OnePlus 15 is still $699 on GizTop. I bet you'll see a couple good deals, but there's not going to be a lot of stock. OnePlus didn't build a ton of warehouses full of phones. So if you were thinking of shopping like kind of brand new, you're not looking at shopping a used device, I would pay close attention for the next couple weeks, because I think once they're out, the company's just going to like pull up all of their sales links and how you can buy them. From Georgie, most of them say OnePlus is great. Even some said it's one of their daily drivers, but they never directly compare it to other brands like iPhone and Samsung's. And the problem I have with that is, like, I know a lot of people fit what you're talking about. And let me tell you who you never see carrying even Android phones, but let alone a OnePlus, when you're out at any of these kinds of like influencer events, or when you're at an industry event, or when you're covering a trade show. Let me tell you what you're seeing most. It's iPhone. You're not even seeing a lot of folks like, oh, I love my Samsung. Let me show you this picture I took of my Samsung. Like, I was sitting in front of two people at the Sphere for that Motorola event at CES, showing off their awesome new Motorola phones, taking photos of the Sphere and themselves at the Sphere with their iPhones. But oh, I'm so glad I'm doing Motorola stuff. So yeah, until someone can point me to a video of someone with over 1 million subscribers saying OnePlus wins, and not blinking, not stuttering, not putting a whole bunch. Well, it wins if you want something that's less expensive and different, but doesn't have AirDrop and ecosystem, but it's good. The OnePlus is good. I like it. No. I had no problem saying the OnePlus 12 kicks the crap out of Galaxy and Pixel and iPhone, because it's not a controversial thing to say. And Ron GKP, and it still has a charger in the box, a pre-applied screen protector. I don't know. We've given up so much, man, and it's just going to get so gross here in the United States. We're down to Motorola. There's Google, Samsung, Apple. Moto is the third place, but they are the third place in terms of market share because of all the cheap phones that they sell. It's going to get so bad in the USA. Because now what incentive do Google and Samsung have to do anything other than just copy Apple? It's just going to be that. It's just going to be more copying Apple. Samsung's biggest changes coming to whatever Galaxy Ultra, like they're saying they're going to make like a camera visor. All the people that like made fun of the Pixel for looking like Bender, and now Samsung's going to copy that too. They're not doing that to make the phone better. They're doing that to make it easier to use Apple accessories, MagSafe accessories with the Galaxy. Samsung's only business model now is, how can we make our phones more like iPhone? That's it. It's gross. Oh man, and again, people reliably making these from All-Star. And this is why after the buzz style videos or 6-month videos are the most important videos. And you can't make money on those, man. I can go back and do another video. I'm going to make a video before the Pixel 11 is announced. It's not going to do a ton of traffic, and people are going to be pissed off that I'm going to say I don't like the Pixel 10 Pro XL. but there's almost no money in making those like 6-month revisited videos anymore. That's why so few outlets are really doing them with any kind of consistency. The only time you can make money on them is to pick up an iPhone 6 months later or a Galaxy 6 months later and say, you know what, guys, you're right. This is a great phone that you probably already own. But do it with a OnePlus and, you know, get a couple thousand views and then it's going to die off. I should do it. I'll do a follow up on the OnePlus 15. And if it doesn't clear any kind of significant traffic, then y'all owe me money or something. I don't know. What are we betting? I'm a betting man. I like to bet. Yep, there's Ike. The Find X9 Ultra is brutally expensive, but if you can afford and it's for you, it's killer. I'm just saying. We know Ike. That is a monster phone. Again, I'm just, it is very, very minute personal experiences that I'm leaning more towards the Vivo this year. But man, getting to use that Find X9 Ultra, like that is a freaking monster. And no Americans will really ever get to know how brutally dominant that phone is compared to an iPhone Pro. It's a Pro Max. It's got cameras on it. Future, it's here. Juan, I'll watch that re-review of the OnePlus 15 100 times. I appreciate that, man. And I need you to also realize that 100 views is not worth your time. And 100 views ain't going to do anything with Google's algorithm right now. It's just not going to move the needle at all. That's how rigged and toxic and algorithmically driven and bullshittery all of this has become. I'm telling you, man, I'm having so much more fun talking about headphones and DACs. I'm having so much more fun talking about like, you know, personal coolers for hot summer months and, you know, accessories that are kind of wacky and glasses that you can watch movies on, because the phone game is dead here in the United States. And it's not going to get better until we see massive political change and some interest from enthusiasts to really change their behavior. Just going on and, hey guys, you know what's so great about my Samsung is I can go to Twitter on my Samsung, and we're screwed. You're dead. It's dead. Totally dead. El Jefe reviews. Did someone say headphones and DACs? El Jefe, have you been sporting some Quest style? I think you would enjoy spending some time with some Quest style. I'm just saying, if you haven't, that M18i Max is pretty tasty. I very much enjoyed my time with the Quest style. We should talk. You want to do some headphone collabs? I've got a ridiculous amount of like oversized planar magnetic drivers sitting on the floor in front of me right now. So, on that note, oh, and I forgot to do. I did a coin flip. I gotta just highlight this real quick. On the Patreon, I had a couple other game codes. Not yet. Oh, we got to talk, Jeff. Hit me up on the Discord later. We'll talk. We could maybe make something out of that. I had a couple extra Steam codes for just some fun, like, you know, multiplayer games. And so one of the games I was giving away is Kitchen Wars. And so I flipped a coin. Sam Ventimiglia. I think Sam is someone some of you folks know. He's going to get a Steam code for Kitchen Wars. I've got another game code coming out for sort of a creepy pasta jump scare co-op game that I'm going to post on Patreon tomorrow. But I also just want to thank everybody for jumping in and for joining the conversation. It makes me really sad when we lose good competitive options. And it makes me really sad when we can acknowledge how rigged the commentary is against good competitive options. And it is just annoying when I have to field YouTube comments. Who could he be talking about? I've never heard anyone say anything disparaging against OnePlus. They always get the goodest reviews. Aditya Anil, that is Sam from the Nomad Tech Project. I'm going to be giving Sam a Steam code for Kitchen Wars. So, the issue is like we're getting out of the summer, we're getting through this kind of summer lull before we kick back into back to school sales and tech sales, and it's just really heavy out there right now with all the price hikes and all the components and parts and pieces, and everybody's struggling right now. So we got to keep our heads down. We got to make sure we're spreading good information, that we're consistent in our approach, and that it's not just what video can I make is going to get the most traffic, but it's what commentary might help someone really make a purchasing decision. It's not, this upset me, so let me go share it on social media to call them out. It's, I need to be intentional. I need to treat my own social media use as something that impacts other people's days. I saw this video from a hack on YouTube and it pissed me off. So let me go share it with other people on Instagram and Threads and Twitter to call them out. We got to stop doing stuff like that. We're literally killing ourselves with the stress and the commentary here. We're burning everyone out. What used to be kind of a fun way we could interact with other people and catch up with our family and friends is now just becoming our 2 minutes of hate. But that also succeeds in making the hate content way more popular. So we have to do better. We're not getting the job done, and we're losing out on experiences that could really matter to people. The stuff is going away. We just lost OnePlus here in the United States. Who's left? So we're going to wrap this up, folks. Thank you so much for tuning in. Sorry it got a little heavy there at the end, but it was always going to be a little bit of a heavy ending just talking about losing OnePlus. But we'll be back next week for another episode of the Monday Morning Tech Chat Show. And it will be our pajama podcast. It'll be the last Monday of the month. And I have not done a proper pajama podcast in like 2 months now, 3 months now. So I want us to plan some goofy activities, maybe even do something stupid. Like we'll do like a Tetris contest or something like that. Just we did that a couple years ago with was it JStris, and it was a lot of fun. And maybe we'll just do a game stream or something. I don't know. I just got to take some of the weight off what we've been talking about. So I want you all to have an amazing week. I want you to do awesome with your technology. I want you to be awesome with your technology. And I want you all to take care of your mental health. I want you to keep being the good tech neighbor that I know you can be, because we desperately need it. And we need it with action, and we need it with intention, and we need it in every conversation, because it's just getting really, really rough out there without the sensible people joining the conversations. If we just let the asshats run around and occupy all the space, then everything sucks. So catch you back. Be safe. Take care. I love you all. And I'll see you next week.